Welcome back. For your do now, you are analyzing a map of the U.S. showing where 50% of the U.S. economic activity, this 50% of our productivity, is in blue, 50% is orange. I wanted you to come to some conclusions about the U.S. economy. Hopefully, you notice that a lot of what we produce seems to be isolated in a few major cities. We got Dallas, Houston, New York, Boston, Philadelphia, DC, Chicago. These major cities are where most of our economic activity and our wealth comes from. And then all the other places, while they're important, they don't produce nearly as much as those cities do. Today, we're going to talk about our second indicator, which is inflation. Remember, inflation is the rate at which prices are increasing in the economy. Now, just because one product gets more expensive, that doesn't make it inflation. Inflation is when lots of products across the board are seeing an increase in price and our money, our dollars, are worth less. So it's the rate at which money loses value. The way they measure this is something called a CPI, Consumer Price Index, where they get a collection of different goods like gas and eggs and bread and clothing and all this stuff, and they measure its change in price over time. Now, inflation isn't necessarily bad. If there's a small amount of inflation, that means the economy's growing, that consumers are buying, demanding more stuff, that they have money. All right, so a small amount of inflation is actually good. You want it to be like between 3 and 5% inflation. Anything over that is considered inflation, and that's usually bad. Kind of what we're experiencing now, where things are getting more expensive, but your pay is staying about the same, and it's getting harder and harder to buy things. As that inflation gets higher and higher, up into like 15, 20%, we call it hyperinflation, where prices are going up faster than people can really afford to buy them. We're not in hyperinflation right now. Rarely is U.S. in hyperinflation, but that's essentially means like the economy and society has lost faith in your money, and they don't trust it anymore. Deflation is going to be the opposite, where prices go down. Now, this sounds good, right? Having prices decrease. But what does that tell us about our economy? If prices are going down, that means people are refusing to buy stuff. Right? That maybe they don't have the money, they don't trust the economy, they don't believe in their job, whatever it is. Deflation is usually a sign of a bad economy. We may like it for the short term, right? Oh, things are getting cheaper. It's bad news. It means the economy is not going well. And it probably won't turn it around very soon, because if I told you everything was getting cheaper, well, you're probably not rushing out to buy stuff. You're like, well, I'll wait another week. I'll wait another week because prices keep going down. So a lot of products aren't getting bought. That's bad for the economy. There are examples of hyperinflation. This is in Germany after World War One. These are stacks of cash that the kids are playing with. The money was so worthless. What happened was Germany had to pay off everyone's war debt after the war. And what they did is they just started printing off more and more money. Just print off as much as possible. They printed off so much that the money became worthless. All right, things that are scarce are valuable. If there's a ton of money, it's worthless. So this guy's loading up a wheelbarrow. He's on his way to go buy like a gallon of milk. It would cost all that money. There's so much of it, kids started using it to make kites. People were literally sweeping money out of the street. This would be hyperinflation. It's happened in other places as well. This is a $1 trillion bill in Zimbabwe, where they had to keep putting off higher and higher values of money to get for people to buy stuff. We're going to take a look at an inflation calculator to show how prices have changed in the United States over time. And then we're going to watch a video, a cartoon that kind of illustrates the point of inflation. You can pause this video for now. Here's an example of some price increases of one product. Gas, you can see gas had gone up, spiked up. It's come down a little bit, but still in the 3 to 4s. Gas has definitely gone up in price over the years. So examples of our biggest inflations. So we'll take a few minutes to review what inflation measures. Inflation measures the rate at which prices increase and the rate at which our money loses value. Why is deflation a bad thing? Well, it indicates that people don't have money and they're not buying things, but also it slows down how much people are willing to spend because they're waiting for prices to get cheaper. Which is worse, hyperinflation or deflation? They're both terrible. They're both awful. If you were running an economy, large amounts of deflation are by far the worst because your economy comes to a halt. Hyperinflation is like things are spinning out of control, but they're still moving. Deflation is like when the economy comes to a halt and is no longer working. All right, so small amount of inflation is good. The economy's strong. People are buying stuff. Hyperinflation, money's lost value. It really hurts customers. Deflation, customers don't trust the economy and stop buying. There's another um, way inflation works. It's not always rising in prices. Sometimes it's what we call shrinkflation. This is when prices stay the same, but the size of the product decreases. Here we got chips and toothpaste, raisins, and toilet paper. Um, all of these things have gotten smaller over the past few years, while prices have stayed the same. So it doesn't look like inflation, but the product is shrinking. Some more example when it comes to like candy, you can see the size has gotten significantly smaller. And Gatorade introduced new bottles. Looks cool. It also went from 32 ounces to 28, and the price did not change. They just made their product smaller. Today we're going to be reading about shrinkflation. You're going to make a cause and effect map like I'm going to draw on the board, and you're going to explain 3 causes and 3 effects of this.